Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Nerdtooine and a Movie Podcast. I am your host, Nerdpool Prime. Thank you for joining me. So I'm going to start off by, again, as I always do, thanking everyone for listening. Anyone who's here on YouTube, iHeart, if you're listening to a clip of this on Instagram, wherever you're listening to it, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. I've got a lot of great content coming. I already have a lot of great content that's been out, so let's try to get everyone on the Nerdtooine bandwagon, because honestly, the more attention I get, the better scoops I can get for all of you. So do me a favor and help out the algorithm and let them know that you like the Nerdtooine content. That being said, this whole episode is going to be 100% Spider-Man No Way Home. So buckle up. It's going to be a nice little fun ride. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the leak. So I'm first of all, I have to say this as a disclaimer. I'm a scooper. Like, I do this. Like, this is what I do. I go look for scoops and look for leaks and all that stuff. So I'm not complaining for my own sake. I'm going to complain a little bit for the regular fan, because we've been waiting this whole time for Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, and the night before we get the actual trailer, we get someone leaking a non-complete, non-CGI'd for the most part trailer that was so hard to see, and it all it did was make the real trailer not as impactful. Again, I knew that was going to happen to me because I literally sought it out. If you went and looked for the trailer, that's on you. But there was a lot of people that I know saw that leaked trailer and it changed their perspective on the actual trailer, because they kind of knew what they were getting into, so they kind of saw everything, and it just... What did that do? Like, we're not even going to talk about the fact that that person who leaked it literally ruined their lives. I mean, who is going to hire this person now? Because apparently this is someone who worked on the trailer. I think it was one of the VFX artists, if I'm not mistaken. Like, what did that do for you? Did you think that you'd be this hero that everyone was going to be like, oh, praise him, praise them, they released the No Way Home trailer? Maybe if you did that months ago. But literally the night before the real trailer dropped, who are you kidding? What was that going to do? What could that have possibly achieved? Nothing. It was coming out the next day. Like, and not even like rumors it was coming out. We had like confirmed reports that it was going to be at Cinecon and that Sony was planning on releasing it simultaneously. We've had that for about a week now, prior to the release. And here we are, the night before. Someone thinks it's a great idea to leak a horrible version of it. What did that accomplish? Nothing. Think about it. It still broke every single record. It's the most mentioned clip in the history of the internet. It broke both Endgame and Infinity War's record for most views in 24 hours. It did nothing but ruin your life. And now I'm talking to the leaker specifically, directly, even though they'll probably never hear this. Why did you risk your whole well-being for something we were going to get in 24 hours? It's not like you were a scooper, that was using your own knowledge to say you have insider knowledge. Well, that's not okay either. At least that was not you breaching everything you signed. I mean, what is wrong with you? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But again, it speaks to the culture of this whole nerdverse that we're in right now. People want information, they want leaks before they happen. And it leads to things like this. I mean, again, the trailer was fantastic, so it really doesn't matter at this point for many of us. Because I saw the leaked trailer the night before it came out, and then it didn't stop me from watching the No Way Home trailer over and over and over again. And obviously, there's a lot to unpack in there, and there's a lot of theories that are already flying around. I'm gonna do my best to not necessarily discredit theories that I've heard, but more explain why I don't think they will be. Anyone who's been listening to me knows very well that my track record with predictions and things of that nature is almost perfect. I still have a WandaVision theory that is not only still alive, but I think should be gaining steam because we've been getting reports that that Wanda will be the villain, the main villain in Doctor Strange 2, which I actually think is going to be someone using her as a weapon more than an actual her being the villain, but that I digress. And you know, I predicted Jonathan Majors showing up in Loki before the series. Both those two theories I did before the show's even started. So by the end of today, by the end of this very episode, you will have my Spider-Man No Way Home theory, or what I think might happen, and see if this time if I'm right again. Because there's definitely a lot of theories that have a lot of traction. One of which being the Mephisto theory. And honestly, that one was really hard for me to, like, again, not discredit, but say why I don't think it's going to happen. And it's getting tough. I could definitely see it. But back to the leak, it's one thing when a toy gets leaked or some, promotional art, where you can interpret what they were going for and things like that. But and even that's not great. There are some people who don't want to see that no matter what the case is. So, and this is me again trying to plead to the community to stop spoiling things for the casual fan. Excuse me. People like me and a lot of super nerds, I guess, we go looking for things. Like I said, I went looking for the leaks. I have people in the industry who are feeding me intel that I know is going to happen. So I still don't want to ruin anyone's experience. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm here again pleading that as a community, we can accept the fact that we may have to wait for things. And just wait. And enjoy the properties as they're meant to be. And don't pirate them. And just watch them and pay for them so we can keep getting great content. But that's my spiel on the leak. I'm going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the No Way Home trailer. Spider-Man No Way Home. Is the Sinister Six coming? Is Mephisto here, finally? Or is this just another boner joke? Stay tuned. Welcome back. So, first things first. Obviously, if you don't want anything spoiled, just in case I'm right, you can go ahead and back out now because I'm going to get into definitely a lot of spec and spoiler territory. And I've been pretty on point with most of my theories, so I'm going to go ahead and issue a spoiler warning right now. If you have any reservations about knowing anything that might happen, please go ahead and back out now. You will not be offending me. It'll only protect your viewing experience. Only you know what your viewing experience is. So, that being said, if you're still here, I'm going to talk about the biggest theory so far. That Doctor Strange in Spider-Man No Way Home is not Doctor Strange. Now, like I said, I'm going to try to not discredit, but say why I feel it may not be the case. But this one, it's tough. It's real tough because I started thinking the same things after watching some of it. And some things really stood out that was just really confusing for me as why it was there. And it makes me think that it's a smokescreen. So the very first one that, of course, a lot of people are ready to just go ahead and pick this as the hill they die on. Mephisto. Yes, I know. I can hear it already, and I'm talking to myself. Here we are again with yet another possible Mephisto appearance. Now, I will start this off with a caveat to say Mephisto is definitely coming. We just got confirmation that there's going to be a Midnight Suns video game, and also rumored Midnight Suns TV show coming to Disney Plus in the near future, or probably maybe distant future. And Ghost Rider is coming. There's no way they're not going to use Ghost Rider. Such a great character, and there's so many different renditions. They could keep rebooting him over and over again. And I have a lot of spec with my good pal Duffy Boy Comics. And if you're not following Duffy Boy's Comics on Instagram as well as whatnot, you're missing out. Guy does amazing stuff. He sponsored an episode of the podcast, so I guess I'm maybe a little biased. But he's just a great guy, and definitely looks out for the collectors. Or even the resellers, to be honest with you. But we have a spec about, wow, I'm drawing a blank, the Ghost Rider, who is also Sorceress Supreme, Sorceress Supreme. I think it's called the Spirit Rider. Hold on. But we definitely feel that she's got a good chance to show up in the MCU. Honestly, he's the one who put me onto her. Sorceress Supreme Ghost Rider. I'm literally looking it up right now. Kushala, the Demon Rider. There we go. Very, very, very interesting character. She's a Sorceress Supreme with the powers of the Ghost Rider, and she's trying to save Johnny Blaze's soul in the comics right now. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but very often now, at least in Marvel Comics, if there's going to be someone who shows up in the MCU or is showing up, they really back that person in the comics as well. Like, look at Kang the Conqueror. Kang the Conqueror has been a staple of the Marvel Universe, since almost its inception. I mean, a Kang the Conqueror variant, Rama Tut, debuted in Fantastic Four number 19, the original Fantastic Four run. I mean, so it's the fact that now Kang is getting his first ongoing solo series. You know who also is getting their own solo series? The Demon Rider. Just saying. So, that being said, if you know anything about Ghost Rider, you know that Mephisto is really, really big in his story. As well as a lot of villains, for instance, Blackheart, which me and my boy Bravo definitely thought that Boner was going to be in WandaVision. So, again, here we are, talking Mephisto again. Now, I actually talked about this with a few people, got their takes. One very interesting take was from World Travel Nerd. They're on Instagram, just literally World Travel Nerd. They were originally supposed to appear on the episode with me, but scheduling conflict, so we just compared notes. We kind of agree that it just seems too on the nose. Because, you know, of course, Doctor Strange may be acting a little erratic, you know, but that does not necessarily mean that he's 100% Mephisto. Like, I saw a theory that basically because he lit a fireplace and was drinking out of a cup, that it was a parallel to Mephisto drinking wine out of a cup in front of a fireplace. Do you have any idea how many fireplaces are in the MCU? Like, seriously. Like, that's not enough. Like, and again, I'm not saying that it's not Mephisto, but I'm saying that everyone is reaching so far right now to try to be the first person to say it's Mephisto, or this is happening or that's happening. I mean, like, and I'll get to this a little bit later with the other, when I talk about this other Spider-Man possibly showing up. When Doc Ock shows up at the end and he's like, "Hello, Peter." Everyone's like, there's a whole bunch of people that are like, "Oh my God, that means 100% that Tobey Maguire's in the movie because he would only know that Spider-Man as Peter Parker. He wouldn't recognize Tom Holland." And again, my sources are telling me that Tobey and Andrew are both in the movie, at the very least post credit. So again, I don't use my sources to try to be a scooper. I use them to help me make theories and stuff like that. But just because he says "Hello, Peter" does not guarantee that Tobey Maguire's in this movie. As well as just because he's standing in front of a fireplace drinking something, and because a spell goes wrong, or it's that archetype of the devil's deal where it seems perfect and then something happens to make it ruined. Like, again, this was the Mephisto one was hard for me to try to debunk. Because I feel it could definitely be that as well. I definitely feel like he could be Mephisto. And one of the things that when I was talking to World Travel Nerd about, maybe the reason why the Sanctum Sanctorum is just all snow, is because Mephisto took the breach in the multiverse created by Wanda and Sylvie to sneak into our realm, and Doctor Strange's last attempt to banish the quote-unquote devil was to freeze him out. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's Mephisto. And again, it very well could be. It's hard for me to go against this one. I've also seen that people think that that Doctor Strange could be Agatha because he winked. Come on, I mean, Doctor Strange has winked before, Again, that, oh my God, he winked. That means that it's Agatha. No, it doesn't. I mean, he winked at Stark in the very beginning of Infinity War when he all that dust and stuff was in the sky. And he just used a spell and he just winked at him. So. And then World Travel Nerd brought up that one of the last layers of hell is literally a frozen wasteland. So if it is Mephisto, maybe Mephisto can't fully enter our realm like that, at least at that point, and needed the spell to do so. And then somehow was able to merge that layer of hell with the Sanctum Sanctorum, and that's why it's frozen and there's snow everywhere. And one of the things I thought of was maybe this is like one of their trailer tricks. Like Hulk showing up on the Infinity War trailer running in Wakanda. We all know that didn't come to pass. I think there's a few more. I'm drawing a blank as what the other ones might be. The King Loki scene from Loki trailers, where we all thought that Loki was going to be the guy at the end. Well, some of you, I knew it wasn't him, except for when Duffy almost convinced me. Dang it, Duffy. Just kidding. So, I say all this to go, is it Mephisto? And again, I'm not here with the ability or even the desire to categorically say no, it's not Mephisto. But there are some things you got to think of. Mephisto is definitely a player in the Spider-Man mythos. So there's only a few places where you can introduce a character like Mephisto and do it right. Doctor Strange, because they had a lot of battles, or in a Ghost Rider spinoff after the Ghost Rider has already been established. Just have the Ghost Rider show up and then do an origin story later. MCU likes to do that. I mean, think about it. That's what they did with both Black Panther, Spider-Man. So that's not out of the realm of possibility. You get the cameo, great, awesome appearance, and then later you get the actual story. So I could definitely see it play out that way, for sure. But I'm also not willing to sit here and say, yes, it's Mephisto. I'm telling you, I knew Jonathan Majors was going to show up in, how do I word it? In not full Kang mode. I knew that was going to happen, not because someone told me, but because I just read the writing on the wall, and it just made so much sense. This, I don't see it like that, to where I can go, yes, it's definitely Mephisto. But I would not be shocked if it is, and it'd be kind of cool, to be honest. Because that signifies that they are listening. We all want Mephisto because we want Ghost Rider. Let's call it like it is. Ghost Rider is one of the greatest characters in the MCU. In the Marvel canon. It just is. One of the most powerful, just so complex, and there's just so much, and there's so many different renditions that they can continue to reboot it, and they could even have a Ghost Rider army in one of the movies or something like that. That'd be so sick. But yeah, I'm not willing to commit to that. But I did get a little off track. So what I was saying about the trailer. So as we know, Marvel does that. They just do that. Simple as that. So my thing is, you got Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. Why is the Sanctum Sanctorum covered in snow? And why is he wearing a hoodie? Doctor Strange is wearing a hoodie with the cloak of levitation. How does that make any sense? I don't think it does. And I think it could potentially be a one of their trailer tricks to get us to think one thing and just to reveal another. But yeah, Mephisto, I won't rule him out, but I can't. I just won't commit to it either. I mean, because remember what happened with WandaVision. We all, oh man, it's got to be Mephisto. I was one of the people who I wasn't like it has to be, but I was like I could definitely see it. Where Mephisto was going to show up in WandaVision because their stories are so linked in the comics. Oh, and we only ended up getting a boner joke out of it. I think it could be a huge smokescreen because I also don't think that is done. I think that we will see Evan Peters in Doctor Strange 2. There was a scene that was filmed. It was end up not making it in, obviously, where when Monica Rambeau goes into the basement to get the Darkhold, because we know she gave the Darkhold to Wanda, there was a scene where her and Boner went down into the basement and fought a demon. The demon was the rabbit. So it could definitely be Mephisto. But I don't know if they're willing to go diving into Mephisto just yet. So that's the first of the theories that I tried to, like I said, debunk. But I couldn't really even do it with this one fully. But I'm going to take another quick break. When I come back, I'm going to talk about another big theory that a lot of people are having, and it's another one of those where I don't know if I can say it's not, but it's definitely not confirmed yet. So stay tuned. Welcome back. So, we're done with Mephisto. So we're going to move right into live action Spider-Verse. All right. We all know what's going to happen. Sony recently renamed their Sonyverse to the Sony's Spider-Man universe. Basically telling us what's going to happen. And that's going to be part of my theory at the end of the show, will be what's going to happen moving forward after No Way Home. But we've been getting reports, rumors, everything about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield reprising their roles in Spider-Man No Way Home. I 100% believe to my core it's going to happen. Get that out the way right now. But that being said, from what we've seen in the trailers, there is by no means any way we can say that it's guaranteed. Because like I said, a lot of people are saying that, I talked about it earlier about Doc Ock, that because he said hello Peter, that guarantees that Tobey's in the movie. So when I was talking to World Travel Nerd, I came up with this thought that maybe that spell messed with the multiverse so much that the people who knew Spider-Man can just see Spider-Man. Even if their face looks different, they can just see it's Spider-Man. So that would kind of go, not hand in hand, but be similar to what they did in Enter the Spider-Verse, because they were attracted to each other. Like, not like in a sexual way, you perverts. I'm talking about like they were just drawn to each other because they were spider beings from the multiverse. And this could very much be a similar, albeit reverse, kind of deal with that. Because think about it this way. Spider-Man. It doesn't matter whether it's Peter Parker, Miles Morales, or any of the other, almost at this point, unlimited Spider-Ham, unlimited different spider people that we have. I mean, we had a whole Spider-Verse event in the comics. You know, it's one thing to see it in an animated movie, you know, to try to make a lot of money. The comic books don't always make that much money. So to dedicate a full storyline to it, and let's call it like it is. Spider-Man is by far one of the most popular superheroes in any comic book or entertainment medium. Let's get that out the way. I mean, Spider-Man, people just love Spider-Man. And another thing that we were talking about, and I'll get more of this when I talk about the Sinister Six, but Spider-Man was always supposed to be able to do things on his own. He didn't, in the comics, he didn't tell people who his identity. Even the Avengers didn't know. Well, I think Tony did, because Tony's a jerk and like just hacked everything. But for the most part, most of the Avengers had no idea who Spider-Man was. In fact, they didn't know Spider-Man was a kid. And so in one of the comics, Spider-Man just dove in front of a bullet to save Cap, and Cap said, "When you grow up, you're gonna be one of the best of us." And he didn't know who he was. So that being said, it doesn't necessarily mean that the two other Spider-Men are in the movie. Again, my sources, which don't get me wrong, I'm not like a Michael Roman from Everything Always or any of these other big name people who get the scoops from people in general. I have a few. All right, I have made some connections in my almost year since I've been doing this, so I get a little intel. So I'm not confirming that they're in the movie. I just believe it with every fiber of my being. But what we've seen so far does not guarantee it, is all I'm saying. Now, granted, there are a lot of things that point out that they're going to show up. I mean, we had that leak trailer from the Sony Latin America when there was like, who's your favorite Spider-Man? You won't have to choose. They'll all be in one place in one movie. So that was a while ago. That was copywritten strict. So the official Sony account, Sony Latin America account, posted a trailer basically saying you're going to see all three Spider-Man in one movie. Sony then went and copyright struck it to take it down. And again, thank you, I Am Fires / Michael Roman / Everything Always / Spider-Man Always, because without sources like you, I really couldn't do what I'm doing as well, at least, that's for sure. So thank you again. I never tag him in like my descriptions when I mention him, because I'm not trying to use his name. I do know the algorithm on YouTube and stuff, it listens for keywords. So because he is big, that could potentially, actually get some viewers just because I said his name in the actual episode. But I'm not looking to use his great accounts to help my own. I just, when I give credit where it's due. So thank you, as always, Michael Roman. So that obviously alone is enough for many people to say guaranteed. I mean, I want to, but I can't. Because the main reasons why I can't commit to saying for 100% certainty that both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be in it is because it's just not, there's just nothing, I can't guarantee it. All the set leaks and all the photos and all that jibber jabber, I can't. I won't commit to it. I just won't. Now, there is a part in the trailer that does stand out as not necessarily confirming that Tobey's going to be in the movie, but definitely a nod to Tobey. When Tom Holland's on the bridge, the suit he's wearing is the exact same suit that was previously worn almost to the T by Tobey Maguire. If I'm not mistaken, it was at the funeral. I don't want to commit to that because I'm drawing a blank for sure when it happens, but the same, that blue, like almost not denim, but like not suit material type, what is it? Is it corduroy? I don't know. But it's definitely a nod to it. So when I was talking to World Travel Nerd, like I said, with the multiversal spell going so haywire, maybe they can just see yes, that's Spider-Man. Even though it's not the face I knew, I just know that's Spider-Man. Or it could show that at least the Peter Parker variants have similar styles, almost to a excruciatingly detailic degree. And I don't even think detailic is a word, but I just made it up and I'm running with it. Whatever. So that being said, I want to believe it so bad. When I talk about the Sinister Six, I'll talk about why, and I'll talk about it now. So in one of the scenes, if you look real closely, it looks like Lizard is like trying to attack Tom Holland, and he's blocked by a force field. So that would be the Lizard from Garfield's universe. And we have confirmation that Electro will be in the movie as well, played by Jamie Foxx. But he won't look blue from what Jamie Foxx has said, and the reports that he's got a more comic accurate suit. So the writing is definitely on the wall here, and I'm reading it, and I just don't want to believe it yet, because, and that's my thing. It just seems too on the nose. Same thing with the Mephisto theory earlier, and then this theory now. I mean, it's like smacking us in the face, and it makes me feel like it's a smokescreen, and we may not actually get everything that we expected. And let's be honest. Our expectations for this movie are too high. Too high. Even if it is the greatest movie in the MCU, it's going to let people down. It will. It just will. Because there's no way that everything that we want can be in it. And that goes along the lines of what I was saying earlier about waiting for things to happen. I mean, I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot by saying that, because what am I doing? I'm literally here like talking about what I think is going to show up in a movie that is not coming out till December 17th. But that's what I do. So it's different, I guess. But man, I guess I still can't commit. But I do have, like I said, that I will touch on this more when I get to my theory about what's going to happen after Spider-Man No Way Home. So Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, very well may be in the movie. I'm hearing probably a post-credit scene at the minimum. I'm pretty sure they're going to be in the last act, the third act. But again, I'm going to go a little bit more about why I hope it's not that. When I talk about the Sinister Six, which will be right after this quick break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So, are we finally here at the live action Sinister Six? So confirmed to be in Spider-Man No Way Home is Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, and we saw him in the trailer. Also, Jamie Foxx as Electro. But that's all we have confirmed. Now, in the trailer, we did see what looked like Sandstorm, which would definitely signify Sandman's return, and there's been rumors that he's going to be in it as well. And I think that the trailer, I don't want to say confirmed it, but definitely added fuel to that fire. And then we got so far Electro, Doc Ock, Sandman, that's 3. And then Green Goblin, that's 4. Lizard, that's 5. Who's the last member? So for me, I really hope that it's not Rhino. To be honest, I'm not a fan of the character that much. So I think the most likely is either Morbius. Sorry, Morbius. Yeah, Morbius, not Mobius. And Mobius from Wanda. Wow, from Loki and the TVA. But Morbius, or the most likely for me is Kraven. because we have confirmed reports that Sony has cast. Wow, I'm drawing a blank at what his name is. The guy who played Pietro in Ultron. Wow. Yeah, but since he's been cast in the live action Kraven film, I could totally see him showing up. That'd be similar along the lines of what happened with my theory on Kang, or Jonathan Majors at the very least showing up, because they definitely just confirmed he was in a movie that wasn't coming out until 2022. Not that actually, now it was moved back to 2023, if I'm not mistaken. Aaron Taylor Johnson. There we go. Aaron Taylor Johnson is playing Kraven, so I could definitely see him showing up as being the sixth member of the Sinister Six. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I saw that pumpkin bomb in HD, not the crappy leaked trailer, oh man, it was just so beautiful. I never thought something that so, honestly, like, insignificant would be so significant. Because that was just amazing. And then to hear that laugh in the background, oh. And, of course, we've rumors, not confirmed reports. Dafoe has been very tiptoeing around it. Every time he's asked, he won't confirm it either, because he said that basically just wait and see the movie. So we definitely have the start, at least, of a Sinister Six, and rumors are that Green Goblin will be very similar to the original costume we saw in the Raimi verse, except there'll be more purple, and I so hope that he has his man purse. It's such a staple of the Green Goblin that to not have it would really hurt my feelings. So please let him have man purse and have a whole bunch of pumpkin bombs in there. That's just perfect. That is just so quintessential Green Goblin. It's not even funny. But anyone who's listening, comment your thoughts on who you think the final member of the Sinister Six might be. Or do you even think that we're going to get a true Sinister Six in this movie? We may not get it. We may just get the ones that we see leading into a Sinister Six movie. But speaking about Sinister Six, a lot of fans and a lot of people I see are saying, with all these villains, Spider-Man's going to need help. And me and World Travel Nerd were talking about this. I don't know if you guys haven't read the comics, but Spider-Man consistently takes out the Sinister Six by himself. Sure, he gets his ass kicked, and it looks like it so many times that not only is he not going to be able to defeat them, but they're going to kill him. But he always somehow triumphs. Spider-Man doesn't need any backup. If you look at it, and that's one thing that they got right a lot in the MCU. Spider-Man, when he defeats the bad guy, it's not using any of the high-tech stuff that he got from Stark. I mean, the first one, he didn't even have the suit. He had to go back and get his original suit with the goggles. And he ended up defeating Vulture. In the second movie, he defeats Mysterio by using his Spidey sense. Spider-Man doesn't need any backup. He uses it. He'll take backup, but he doesn't need it. He's Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man. Think about that. How many times the Sinister Six got together and tried to take out Spider-Man only to fail? A lot in the comics. A lot. So, while I really would love to see the other Spider-Man show up in the movie, I definitely will not sit here and say that it's needed. Spider-Man at his core is supposed to be able to take on the Sinister Six by himself. Simple as that. But the version of Spider-Man that we have in the MCU is definitely not the full powered Spider-Man from the comics. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm going to take another quick break, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to talk about a few of the Easter eggs that I found and that the World Travel Nerd found. Because I didn't watch any of the breakdown videos from any of my favorites, like a New Rock Stars or Everything Always, before I did this episode. So I definitely I'm going in with just my theories that I've come up with from my conversations with other great nerds. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk about some Easter eggs, and then I'm going to go right in after the Easter eggs into my predictions, my theories, my Nerdtooine spec, my Nerdtooine theory on what is going to happen, and not only in Spider-Man No Way Home, but for future Spider-Man content. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So, as I said, we're going to talk about Easter eggs and maybe not only Easter eggs, but things I noticed, things that have been bothering me. So, first off, why the hell does Strange have the Eye of Agamotto on his neck? The time stone that was in it is destroyed, or at least it was supposed to be. So, one of the things that I thought of is, and this connects back to Mephisto, maybe Doctor Strange is Mephisto, and Mephisto doesn't know that the Time Stone has been destroyed, so his mental or his vision of Doctor Strange still has the Time Stone. Very possible. World Travel Nerd brought it to my attention that there are multiple Eye of Agamottos in the Marvel comics, so maybe he went and just got another one. Maybe he was able to use a spell to go back in time long enough to get the Time Stone. Maybe he used a spell to bring back the Time Stone from being reduced to atoms. Who knows? But that was just something that I thought was interesting. And then, right at the very beginning of the trailer, you had MJ and Peter talking, and if you notice, Peter's leg is in a very distinct number 4 setup. John Watts is also doing the Fantastic Four movie, if I'm not mistaken. So that would make a lot of sense. Now, another thing that I didn't notice, there is a Steve Ditko reference in that opening scene there. I didn't see it. I'm 100% honest. But you know who did? World Travel Nerd. He definitely saw it. And brought it to my attention. In the background, there's some graffiti on the wall that says Ditko. So that's pretty cool. Another thing that he pointed out was on the scene on the bridge where Doc Ock shows up, there is a taxi with the numbers 1228. That just so happens to be a what if book. That just so happens to be an actual Earth in the Marvel canon, and it was from a what if book. What if the Marvel bullpen had become the Fantastic Four? So now that's just a joke, a joke book, really, because obviously the writers aren't going to be superheroes. But you know who is in that book? The Skrulls. What's on the way? Secret Invasion. Just saying. And we know Watts tends to do that. He puts a lot of Easter eggs in his movies, at least the Spider-Man content so far. So definitely could see that happening. And then we already talked about Lizard showing up and the possible Sandman and Electro and all that stuff. And a previous leak that I heard through Michael Roman from Everything Always was that Spider-Man actually releases the villains, and they're in like temporal prisons in the Sanctum Sanctorum, and that definitely looks like what Lizard was behind. I mean, because you see he's Peter's in his suit, and then this object comes flying at him and then is blocked by like a force field. So that's definitely a possible confirmation of that leak from earlier. So that'd be pretty cool. But other than that, I don't think there was too many like true Easter eggs in this, more because it was more just a teaser to get us all hype. We do have a possibility that Daredevil, Matt Murdock, played by Charlie Cox, made a possible appearance in the trailer. Some people are believing that the guy in the white shirt that slammed down all those files in front of him in the police station was Matt Murdock. And of course, we've had so many rumors that Matt Murdock was going to show up and played by Charlie Cox. We even got new reports that Charlie Cox is going to be also showing up in the Hawkeye series because obviously Echo is in it. But I didn't really see too much more in regards to big Easter eggs, really, in my opinion. You could look at the Tom Holland picture with the horns. It'd be another Mephisto reference. But all in all, I believe this was more, I want to say, straightforward. And they weren't really hiding too much in plain sight. So now here we are, Nerdtooine theory, Nerdtooine spec. So I think this is the last Tom Holland Spider-Man movie for a while in the MCU. So with Sony renaming their Spider-Verse the Sony Spider-Man universe, then you have Vulture showing up, played by Keaton in the Mobius trailer. I just think, oh man, I think he is going to die. At least that's what the MCU is going to think. Because think about how crazy that would be if the end of this movie, Tom Holland dies on screen, only to show up in Venom 2 or in a future Sony property that and revealed that he didn't actually die. He just kind of went somewhere else, like Red Skull. So I really think that Spider-Man, at least Tom Holland Spider-Man, is not going to be in the MCU for a while. I think that he is going to go to the Sonyverse, be over there for a while, mentor Miles Morales. Okay? Yeah, you heard me. I'm calling Miles Morales. And the Sony Spider-Man universe is basically going to be like the Ultimates universe in the comics. Excuse me. And with all of the Secret War hype and Secret War rumors and theories, I think that is what's going to happen. Spider-Man is going to leave the MCU under the assumption that he died and return to the MCU in Secret Wars. Directed by the Russo brothers in 10 years' time. It's a little crazy and a little out there, but it definitely could happen. Now, I also believe that the events of this movie is going to lead to the construction of the Illuminati, which are now confirmed to be in Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. Professor X is apparently going to fight Wanda in Doctor Strange 2, and the Illuminati is going to show up. Granted, it will not be the Illuminati that we all know, or any rendition close to what we would think would be an Illuminati roster. But it's supposedly going to be Professor X, Monica Rambeau, Peggy Carter, Bulger the Brave, and Baron Mordo. Now, Professor X makes sense, obviously. Also would confirm 100% unequivocally that the mutants are already in the MCU. Monica Rambeau makes sense as well. For those of you who don't know, the Illuminati is a team of superheroes that kind of work behind the scenes. They're usually the heads of like the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the regular, the most iconic Illuminati is, Iron Man, Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four. So Iron Man from the Avengers, Reed Richards from Fantastic Four, Black Panther from Wakanda because they're good enough to have their own thing. Side note, rest in peace, rest in power to Chadwick Boseman. Yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of his passing. So just much love to his family, and it's just crazy that we lost him so soon. And then Doctor Strange, Mystic Arts, and Namor. Those are the iconics. Well, Namor hasn't shown up yet. We just talked about Black Panther. Iron Man's dead. Reed Richards isn't here yet. So if you're going to do a Illuminati team, who are you going to put in it? Professor X, head of the mutants. Monica Rambeau, who at this time will probably be head of Sword, who is also superpowered. Peggy Carter as Captain Carter from What If. We also have confirmation that she's going to show up in live action Doctor Strange 2. Bolger the Brave, who, if you don't know, is one of Thor's brothers. In many points in the comics, he's widely hailed as the most brave of all Asgardians. And then Baron Mordo, who last we saw in Doctor Strange post-credit scene, he's trying to rid the world of sorcerers. What better place to do that than in the Illuminati? So I would bet that the events of this movie create the Illuminati, and I could so see that being one of the post-credit scenes. There's going to be like a close-up of a desk, and a door opens, and it's just going to be people sitting down, and they're going to pan up, and it's going to be the Illuminati. I feel like that's a very logical and possible outcome. But I have to do the live-action Spider-Verse. Yeah, at this point, I would be more surprised if it doesn't show up than it actually showing up in the MCU in Spider-Man No Way Home. So that's gonna be it for now. I don't have any more theories that I'm willing to put my name on right now. And somehow I took a 3-minute trailer and talked for 58 minutes at this point. How the hell did I do that? But so I'm going to wrap it up at that then, because I shouldn't have taken this long to do a 3-minute breakdown theory trailer thingy. So thank you all for joining me for another episode of Nerdtooine and a Movie Podcast. I am your host, Nerdpool Prime. Thank you again, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends. It's Nerdpool Prime, signing off.